Hello students and welcome. In this session, we will talk about the evolution of a trader, meaning the process that you can expect to go through when you decide to learn how to trade. Now, if you've traded before, if you already have some experience in the market, then it doesn't mean that this segment has nothing to offer. On the contrary, try to locate yourself in one of these groups in order for you to understand what is the additional information or process that you need to go through in order for you to become an experienced trader. What we're going to describe is a very well-known system that's called the competence matrix. This idea can be used to describe any learning process, but during this presentation we will make the connection between this idea and the learning process of a trader. So the first thing that we will describe will be unconscious incompetence, meaning that you don't really understand or know how to analyze yourself, what goals to place, and what peaks you need to reach in order for you to proceed to the next level. Unconscious incompetence refers to the lack of ability to understand where you're at and basically thinking that you know what it's all about when actually it'll take a bit more time until you understand what the market is at all. The second stage will be conscious incompetence, meaning that you're already learning enough material and seeing enough information and experiencing the market a bit, and then you realize the size of it all, the amount of information that you need to process in order for you to achieve some knowledge in the market. The third section will talk about conscious competence, meaning when you already have tools, you're using them with your experience, and you can already see that the market is indeed working according to your plan, working according to your expectation. You have a specific plan, you have a specific process, and that is a beautiful stage because over here you understand that you have a connection to the market, that you can analyze the market. This is actually the first part where traders start to believe that they can trade and trade successfully. Now, until this stage, the third stage, we see that a lot of traders out there or students that learn how to trade at the first and second stage, if they don't have enough backup or someone that will guide them, explain that this is a process that they need to go through, then usually we will see traders or students, to be more exact, getting overwhelmed by not having ability at all. Because when we get into the financial market, we have a lot of expectations, not only from the market, but also from ourselves. And if we won't connect between our expectation and the reality, then the probability of us to achieve, to reach to the third section, the third level, when we can actually see our assessment taking place in the market, that will be the only stage where you understand that using a specific strategy or thinking in a specific logical process is actually beneficial on your account. And the fourth section is the beautiful section of unconscious competence, meaning that already it's implanted in your behavior. It's implanted in your behavior in such way that it's already expressing on other fields as well. You see that you're making a plan, you're getting ready for a specific process and acknowledging a process even before you start, and again, in your personal life, not only in trading. And that's exactly the part where a trader becomes a trader. Because a trader is not just an act. It's not just a part of your time during the day. It's a behavior. It's a personality. And when you have this information implanted or creating thoughts and creating behaviors during your casual day in other fields, then you understand that you're starting to behave, to react, to feel, to think as a trader. And that is the highest peak that should be in your ambition list. Now, before we will move on to actually talk about the different subjects, this entire process, why are we talking about becoming a trader, the evolution of a trader, the process that you need to carry in order for you to achieve these goals? First of all, as I described, will allow you to reach a level where you think that you can't do that, and that's not true, because it all comes down to experience and discipline. And the other, and even more important issue, is acknowledging that this is a process that you need to go through will allow you to shorten the period of reaching the next step in order for you to proceed in this process. Okay, so by acknowledging and understanding the path that we need to walk through, or in this case, the mountain that we need to climb, defining each level, we will be able to shorten the period that will take you to move from one stage to another. So let's start to actually describe this process in a connection to the financial market. So unconscious incompetence. Just talking about the process itself, unconscious incompetence is when someone thinks that he knows something, but he actually doesn't. When someone has, let's say, the courage to get into a field, and only by trying, only by going through the field itself, he understands that he has no ability, not in terms of experience and not in terms of tools, to move forward to the next level. But again, in this stage, unconscious incompetence, he doesn't really know that that's the fact, that that's the condition. And let's describe what is the process that goes through a trader at the beginning of his path. Now that is, again, a usual process that we see going over new traders in the market. Now another thing that I'd like to describe is that every trader, with no exceptions, will walk through the first two stages. But not all traders will be able to pass beyond them, okay? Which are essential for his professional success. Obviously, an investor will recognize the process that he went through only after he moved to the next stage. So you can't really understand if you're at a specific process unless you move to the next stage. Just after you've bounced to the next stage, you'll be able to look back and say to yourself, wow, that was the stage of or this or that, and that will be an epiphany when you understand that you're a part of a process, and obviously recognizing that you've been through a lot and you've climbed to a higher level. The movement from one stage to another will never be sharp, will never be instantly. There's a time period of movement between stages. And usually during this transformation process, you'll see that you're still feeling and thinking motivated by the lower stage. Okay, pay attention to that, because it means that when you're moving forward, you're still thinking and feeling in the lower stage. And that's when you understand that you're in a transformation process. It'll take some time in order for you to disconnect from the lower stage entirely. And as I said, every movement to the next stage will involve an epiphany. Okay, let's move on and talk about the first subject. That is the unconscious incompetence. So in this unconscious incompetence, and we can call it the stage of no fear, no wisdom, or as we usually say, ignorance is bliss. In this stage, traders, or let's call them students, don't really know how much they don't know. This stage is defining the beginners, those who are interested to succeed in the market, but they don't really understand the importance of early planning and the need to develop a trader's behavior. These traders believe in their ability, their born ability to create profits. They won't give failures or even repetitive failures to interfere their belief. In this stage, the self-confidence and the ego are at the highest level, and they control most of the trader's reaction. The high self-confidence is not based on capability, but on ignorance and denial. The high ego usually delivers deceit, self-deceit, and public deceit. When you tend to forget the losses or report only on success alone, when it comes down to talking to relatives, friends, and associates, when in fact the failures are larger than the successful trades. The high ego is not allowing a trader in this stage to receive any criticism, and obviously not one that proves his lack of knowledge, and unfortunately at this stage he'll be overconfident in his superior level and capability. At this stage, a trader is revealed with his highest ignorance. A trader at this stage tends to not take any responsibility for his actions and will always prefer to blame the external forces in his loss, meaning the market, other traders, robots, machines, anything that will take the blame out of his hands. A trader at this stage will constantly change invested strategies, will get into a short period and convince himself that after a painful loss, he's basically trading for the long term. And he'll get into long-term trades. And after he will lose a major amount, he'll claim that right now he's working on the short period. Okay? Just to convince others or even himself that he's doing everything in the right way and he's allowing his ego to control his behavior. At this stage, a trader is basically at the highest level of risk to his own capital. Only lowering the self-confidence and ego will allow you to move forward to the next stage. Conscious incompetence, or as we would like to call it, know where you came from and where you're heading. At this stage, traders admit that they don't know a lot. At this stage, a trader will start to understand the meaning or the size of the mission lies ahead. And that is the most frustrating stage, but also the most important one for your professional evolution. At this stage, traders begins to understand that all the explanations that they gave to themselves earlier based on ego and self-confidence worth nothing. The trader begins to understand that all the information surrounding him is not useful at all. Traders at this stage already felt some losses, painful losses, and recognize that they need to lower the exposure to the market. And during our education series, obviously, we will talk a lot about the financial perspective, about the money management idea. Not only just giving you, definitions, general definitions of how and why, but talking about different accounts, how to behave, how to manage an account. That will help you to move forward to this stage earlier. But to tell you the truth, going over the first stage of making the mistake in order for you to recognize the mistake and in order for you to move to the next level is a bit essential. So we will try to lower this exposure as much as we can, working with you until you reach the highest level. If you find yourself still risking large capital, too large for your ability, then you're still in the early stage, meaning that you're still being run by your ego, and you can't move to the next stage until you feel the lack of capability, until you understand how much weight you need to leave behind you in order for you to proceed to the next level. So usually a trader at this stage will feel frustrated, but the frustration is very useful for the next stage. Okay? A trader like this believes and understands that profits can be made in the market, but he feels frustrated because right now with his behavior profits are random and they usually been wiped away very quickly with other losses in his account. All traders at this stage are defined by indiscipline, lack of early planning, and lack of the definition of different stages during your trading. Every trade needs to have a specific plan with the definition of the risks involved in the financial market. But at this stage, you begin to understand there's another way. You start to express the will to learn, to absorb information. And as I said, usually most of our traders are at this stage. When you've tried to trade on your own for several months or even beyond that, and you came to realize that you need additional information and support from another direction. And in this case, you're already looking to get into a system, a process that will show you the right way of trading the financial market. Now, this specific stage is usually considered to be a failure, but obviously that is not a failure. It's just a stage that you need to go through in order for you to achieve the will, the reason to sit down and to learn about the markets before you'll proceed protecting your account, protecting your capital, and not getting involved with something that you don't understand how to overcome. Now, what defines this stage? The ability, which is practically larger than the self-confidence, but the frustration is fogging your achievements. So don't forget that. You can't really see that you're at a good stage, but believe me, that is the game-changing stage. Let's move forward and describe the next subject. So the next one will be conscious competence, meaning that you're already aware that you have the ability. Traders that reach this level begin to operate in an organized and well-planned way. They start to base the reaction to the market, which is personally adapted, meaning that it fits your behavior, your character, and to practice on the ability to act accordingly. Now, it sounds very strange, because you've got the plan, you've got the knowledge, you've got the way, but still you need to work on fulfilling the plan. Still you need to work on doing things as you wrote that you need to do them. Well, yeah, that is a major impact on your trading, because even if you've got a plan, and even if you've learned something, you've learned a strategy, you've learned to plan, you've learned to define your account, to manage your account in the right way, still being affected by trading, by the financial market, by potential, by emotions, that will change your plan. And in order for you to move to the next level, you will have to commit to the plan that you've built based on your character. Slowly but surely, you will enhance this ability, and you will learn more information and more methods. And during this process, you'll see that you're fulfilling the plan in a higher and a higher and a higher precision. This stage is essential for practicing discipline. At this stage, the self-confidence will grow, but at this point, unlike the first part, confidence will have a capability base. At the end of this stage, a trader will act specifically according to his rules, according to his plan, and won't divert from the initial early plan that was set for every reaction in the market. And that is being a trader, because you don't only have a plan that you need to walk through, but you understand the importance of the plan. You understand the importance of information that you've learned, and you understand, and again, it's based on experience as well, not only on knowledge. You understand that everything, every bit of information that you've been taught has a part of your reaction to the market. You understand the logic, you're connecting the dots. And over here, I'd like to say, learning is a process, okay? It's a connection not only of receiving information, but also seeing the reaction when you take actions in the market. That will be the only way for you to connect between information and behavior. That is when you already have thoughts during the trade that will predict your reaction to the market, that will predict what will happen and how you'll react at each and every point, because it's a solid base reaction. I had a lot of positions in the market when I had an ability to close a position, to think about that, maybe I should step outside of the market, I should do this, I should do that. A lot of interference in terms of emotion and additional thoughts about a specific trade, but going over a specific plan and understanding that this plan is essential for you to succeed, not only for you to succeed in a specific trade, but succeed the long term. Looking back and seeing that you're successful with your past trading, that is the point when you understand the importance of syncing the idea, the information, and the behavior, the reaction together, and by that building a personality of a trader. So as I said, practice is essential at this stage, and traders can build this process in matters of weeks, months. Some will take even years to sync this information. Again, when you don't have a mentor, when you don't have a system, when you need to look for yourself, when you need to search the right information, test your account. And that's exactly what I said at the beginning of this presentation. By getting into our system, you will be able to shorten the period, because you won't only have to deal with thinking about a trade or about a position or about a loss or about a profit on your own. Will help you with this idea, will help you to see the markets in such way that will elevate your experience very quickly. And the practice is the most important essential tool in order for you to bounce to the next level. And the last stage of this process obviously is the unconscious competence. Meaning that you already have the ability, but it's implanted in your mindset. At this stage, you have unconscious ability, becoming a trained professional trader. And they are the most professional traders in the market. These traders trade with a lot of experience and being trained in the market for a lot of time. I told you it's difficult to climb to this stage when it's already in your subconscious. Okay, it will take years to practice, but it doesn't mean that you won't be able to see profits. Obviously, from the second and the third stage, you can already see profits on the account. But to reach a subconscious professional behavior with this amount of experience is a goal that you should all aim to. These traders won't follow consciously a specific defined plan. Okay, they don't have a specific system, but they know subconsciously to recognize the right time for each position and investment. Traders like these defined with their patience, a lot of patience, and they trade in the market only when they recognize the most suitable position. Traders at this last stage operate an intuitive subconscious behavior to imply the enormous data and experience that they have in order for them to locate investment targets with low risk and high yield potential. Traders like these understand that it's all about probability, and I'll teach you a lot about probability along the way. You'll never hear from traders at this stage screaming loudly, happily, bragging, or changing the reality. A trader at this stage reacts the same towards success when he understands that failures and mistakes will go along at least half of his reaction to the market, and he will limit the mistakes to a minimum. At this stage, you accept the judgment of failures and losses, and they are part of the probability idea. And at this stage, they see losses as a business payment that you can't prevent entirely, but you need to work with in order for you to limit its boundaries. Traders at this stage recognize early mistakes as much as they can, understanding that that is the process of trading, the actual process of professional trading. And this unconscious competence is our goal, and it completes the idea of becoming a trader, the evolution of a trader. I hope that the explanation of the two early stages won't lower your need or will to get into a learning process, because as I said, it's essential for us to recognize the stages in order for us to move forward quickly, in order for us to overcome the obstacles, in order for us to accept change, accept the idea of change. And that will help us to absorb information, to apply different methods that we will learn during this educational course, and it will help us, your mentors, to bring you to the successful levels that we want you to achieve.